Wonderful question, Marcus, and such a delight to be here, first of all. With you, we have had such a long and strong and affectionate bond. So to be here and to discuss about these pertinent themes is like a matter of delight to me. So my pranams and respect to all of you from India. I was listening to Professor Yan, and I think I will just take it from there to answer your question, because one of the reasons why I think this kind of dichotomy continues to exist between science and spirituality is because we are probably trying to define both of them wrong. Because the answer to the question, like Professor Yan was saying earlier, thousands of years ago when Vedas were being written, Rigved was being written, then one of the Rishi, Parmeshti, he had the similar kind of question that, what is it? Where people are coming, where they are going? And he wrote a very beautiful sukta called a Nasadiya sukta. It starts with Nasada Sino Sada Sitadani Nasid Rajona Vyoma Paroyat. Kimavari Vahakuvascha Sharmanamba Kimasid Gahanam Gaviram. Meaning that in the beginning there was nothing but the nothing, and nothing was wrapped within the nothing, and from nothing came the everything. So, like, just the concept of the Einstein of matter and energy being interchangeable, it was the same thing that then subsequent following of the Upanishads talked about, that Eko Deva Sarva Bhuteshu Goda Sarva Vyapi Sarva Bhutantaratma, that there is only one consciousness which is shining through each of us. It is being manifested through you as Marcus, and it is being manifested through me as Chinmay. But essentially we are interchangeable. Like, it came from the same consciousness, which gave birth to the concept of Advaita Vedanta, that there is no other consciousness. Dvaita means duality, means no. That basically there is no other consciousness, there is only one. And having an understanding that I am only one facet into this big cosmic dance actually brings a much better consciousness, because the moment the separation is gone, the primary sin, original sin, as per the Advaita Vedanta or Vedantic understanding, is that I created a boundary for myself. Moment I created a boundary for myself, I created a boundary for you. Moment this belongs to me, that belongs to you. And that kind of division, that kind of differentiation, that kind of strife and conflict, that would only bring problems that we are seeing in the today's world, whether it is terrorism, whether it is the problems like war and conflict, whether it is individual differences, whether it is personal or familial challenges, they all come from the fundamental problem of I try to suffice my ego. Bigger the ego, bigger the conflict. And if we go back to the Upanishadic tradition, then the beautiful saying comes, which is Ayam Nijaha Paroveti Ganana Lagu Chetasam, written 5,000 years ago. Ayam Nijaha Paroveti, Ayam Nijaha, this is mine. Paroveti, that is yours. Ganana Lagu Chetasam, that is a feeling of the small people. Narrow-minded people can think like that. Children can fight for the toys. Udara Charita Namtu, those who have got big hearts, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, there is only one consciousness. We belong to one family. So the moment that kind of shift takes place, when I am only a manifestation of a higher and bigger plan, whether we call that a divine consciousness or one consciousness, whether we call it a scientific or a spiritual consciousness, makes no difference. There is only one. And we are all the manifestations. That's why I think Gurudev called this organization, our organization, as Thought Transformation Movement. He named it that you need to change your consciousness and transform the way you think. And that is the idea behind Eastern wisdom traditions, and I belong the same in the scientific flow of the understanding too.
Thank you. Yes, I see you're sitting in front of so many spiritual books, and I feel the power of this old spiritual tradition, which you are presenting as as a spiritual leader of a spiritual movement which comes from India. So we have people from Australia here, from Europe, from India, and we will also have a guest who's comes from China and one from Tibet. So I believe, listening to everyone, we get the same spiritual spiritual message. So in your tradition, what are you doing for the upliftment of the consciousness? Could you give us an example which we can participate in?
So the essential premise of this organization that Gurudev called as the Gayatri Parivar is based on two things: self-embellishment, like changing myself or transforming myself, and social upliftment, making society a good place to live. So either I become a good person, or then I help in making society a good place to live. And now the organization has about 150 million members and 5,000 centers all over the world. Even the headquarters, where, like you have been on many times, we have got capacity to accommodate 15 to 20,000 people. And it's like a sustainable kind of eco society where everything works on individual participation to social participation and community involvement. What we can do is, first of all, actually to change the way we think. We need to think not about supplementing my ego, but actually making the community a better place. The moment it changes from I to other, first actually change takes place at that particular moment. And the essential idea of this society to survive actually came from the fact that what we are teaching at the moment is only people to feed their own needs and requirements without even thinking how that's going to affect the other. So whether we see that kind of thinking affecting the environment or nature or cosmos or prakriti in the form of pollution to climate change to global warming, it is coming from the fact that it all became centered to my needs. I never thought that how that's going to affect the other person. And the idea of environmental sustainability to community participation comes from this shift in the consciousness of replacing I with the welfare of others. And then also what it involves is in the essential practice of the Gayatri mantra, which requires three things. One is the purity. So purity of the thoughts, and that does not require a bigger definition. That requires only one thing, that I being good in my heart and doing the things with noble intentions. That's why the people like Gandhi and Kagaba and Mandela and Saint Francis de Assisi, they are representative of the pure consciousness, no matter which part of the world they are born into. So purity of the mind. And prakharata. Prakharata means radiance of the thoughts, always thinking positive, doing something good for the society with good intentions. And parishkar, which means embellishment, like, every day working for releasing a better version of myself into the world. So today I should be a better edition of what I was yesterday. And that is the idea that Gurudev gave, that har din naya jan, har raat nahi maut, that you have got only one day to live. Think like that this is the only day that I have got. And if I have got only one day to live, how would I like to live this day? It starts from the morning and it goes into the night. And then 12 hours, whatever I have got in this 24 hours, then I should use it for absolute perfection. And I hope that a simple sadhana trick like that would help people to change the way they think. And I'm sure that everyone is capable of doing it. They just need the right moment to make that kind of shift. Maybe today's